In this video, we're going to be finding the domain of an expression. In our example, we're going to be finding the domain of the square root of 64 minus 4x squared. Now, because the square root of 64 minus 4x squared is defined only when our 64 minus 4x squared is non-negative, our domain can actually be given by the inequality 64 minus 4x squared is greater than or equal to 0. And so from this point, we're going to go ahead and solve. And so I'll begin by dividing everything by 4. And that is going to give me a 16 minus x squared is greater than or equal to 0. And then from here, I can factor this because this is the difference of squares, which will become 4 minus x and 4 plus x, which again is greater than or equal to 0. So using the zero product property, we're then able to find our key numbers of x equals 4 and x equals negative 4. So again, these are our key numbers. And so that we can then test these on an interval from negative infinity to negative 4, and from negative 4 to 4, and from 4 to positive infinity. And so the x values that we'll use to test our intervals will be x equals a negative 5, x equals 0, and x equals a positive 5. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug those in. And when we do so, when we plug them in, we're going to plug them into our entire expression here. And when we plug in negative 5, we actually end up getting an error. And when we plug in a 0, we get a value of 8. And when we plug in a 5, we actually get another error message on our calculator. And so what we see here is that it only exists between the interval of, so this doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, and here we have positive. And since we're looking for where it's going to be greater than or equal to 0, we see that that's only going to occur between the interval negative 4 and 4. Now it just so happens that our intervals, our solutions for this are x equals 4 and x equals negative 4. And if we were to look in a calculator here, we graph that, we see that this actually only exists from negative 4 to 4, and that those are zeros. And so our interval is going to be the closed interval from negative 4 to 4. And that is going to be our domain.